I'm Chef Susie with LearnToCook.com. Today we're going to be making a banana bread, and we're going to make a banana quick bread. And it has that name because it's quick and we're not using a yeast rise bread. We're going to, our active ingredient that's going to make our bread rise is baking soda, and it's just a quick batter that we're going to make on the machine and put it in the oven, and it bakes for about 45 minutes and then it'll be ready to eat. So first of all, we're going to, before we start making our batter, we're going to grease our pan, and we're going to be using a 9x5 loaf pan, and you can use the spray that you can buy in the store, a vegetable spray for non-sticking, but I'd like to show you how to flour and butter a pan. So I'm going to take some butter that I have at room temperature, and I'm just going to put some on a little paper towel. I'm just going to rub it over the pan all around the bottom and the sides just to cover it. And then we'll put some flour in, and then it'll be ready and it's not going to stick for sure. So now that we have it greased with some butter, I'm just going to take a little bit of all-purpose flour that we're going to be using for the batter. And I kind of put it in the bottom and then shake it around. And I'm doing this over a parchment to keep my table clean, and then I can save the flour and use it in one of my recipes. Because it's good, it's clean, it's just got maybe a little butter on it. And that is it. And then I tap out the excess flour so I don't have any lumps of flour on my banana bread. So our pan is ready. For banana bread or banana muffins, whatever baking you're doing with bananas, you want some bananas are going to be a little bit riper than a banana that you would normally eat. And they should start to turn pretty brown like this and even browner. And they shouldn't have any green on them, and they shouldn't be like the bright yellow because they won't have as much flavor or sweetness, and they're going to be a lot softer too, and they'll incorporate into your recipe better. So I've got my gloves on, and I'm just going to press my bananas into my measuring cup. You can break them up in a little bit with a fork in a bowl before you begin, but I just kind of like to do it this way. This is what I'm used to doing. So like I said, we're going to do 1.5 cups, and to make sure that we have accurate measurement, we're going to press them in the cup. So knowing that, we're going to turn on our mixer. And we're going to turn it on a low speed. So we don't want to aerate the bananas. We just want to soften them up and mix them. Then we're going to add our sugar to that once they get going. And I'm just going to put it in the mixer. And I've got one of our half cups here. Okay. Once the bananas and sugar are incorporated pretty well, you can kind of see if you're getting any banana lumps, so maybe turn the mixer on a little higher to break up some of your lumps, and then you can add your 3/4 of a cup of oil. We're going to add that in slowly so it doesn't splash up on us. Next, we're going to be adding 3 whole eggs. And your eggs should be at room temperature always when you're baking. Okay, so we're just going to let those mix in. And we're going to be putting in our baking soda, which is our leavening agent. We want these spoons to be level, so you could use a little spatula like this or a butter knife. And you want it to be nice and level for accurate measure. I'm going to go ahead and put that into our mixture. And then we're going to add another 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, then next comes our salt and our vanilla. We're going to be adding a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay, also with the flour, you're going to make sure that it's level and not heaping. That's not 1 cup, but this is 1 cup. So you're going to level it off with your spatula or your butter knife, whatever you like to use. And after I got this in, I'm going to remain mixing, and then our batter will be done. Okay, so we're just going to take a rubber spatula and just go around the bottom, and especially with a loose batter like this, things seem to collect on the sides. Now we're going to crank it back up, mix it a little bit, get all those things mixed in that we scraped from around the sides. So now we're going to put our batter in our pan. And then we're going to be putting it in the oven for about 45 minutes at 350 degrees. Now that our banana bread is ready, I'm going to slice it with a serrated bread knife. And I'm using the serrated bread knife using a sawing motion so I don't damage the bread. And as you can see, it turned out nice and it's consistent. It's well baked, there's no raw spots. Then we're going to put it on our platter, and you can serve it with jam or with butter for breakfast or for brunch or any time of day. And it's also good for making sandwiches.